Politically, the tide is turning, and people all over the world are now rejecting the New World Order. The Central Bank of Nigeria launched their CBDC a little over a year ago, but the people rejected it. So early this year, the Nigerian banks emptied the ATM machines and closed their doors. This resulted in angry protests. The people attacked ATMs and blocked roads in multiple cities. The Bank of Lebanon has crashed. The Lebanese pound has fallen to an all-time low of 80,000 against the US dollar. The people have taken to the streets. Banks have been set on fire. The rise in Fed rates has officially killed America's biggest lender, Silicon Valley Bank. The FDIC shutters Silicon Valley Bank. $152 billion of uninsured deposits are destroyed. The rise in Fed rates also killed Silvergate Capital. Several regional bank stocks have plummeted as a result of the Silicon Valley Bank and the Federal Reserve's rate hikes. The housing market is collapsing as well. The majority of commercial real estate loans are lent by small banks. Massive short bets are now happening in the commercial real estate market. The Federal Reserve Bank is taking down the housing market along with all regional banks, leaving only its vassals who will be distributing CBDCs as a solution. The financial experts are now recommending that people have food, gold and silver, and cash in their possession.
It affects everybody, and so I started studying in history, and I found out the same thing happened on March 3rd, 1933. Roosevelt did the exact same thing for the exact same reason, leading to the exact same result. And so studying past periods that didn't happen in my lifetime, like we haven't been through a war before, and we haven't been through a civil war, or we haven't been in this circumstances. So the three big things that are happening in our lifetimes that we have not been through before are the creation of an enormous amount of debt and printing of money to monetize the debt. That's number one. And so we'll talk about inflation and where we are in that cycle. And I'm like a mechanic. I'm not ideological. I'm just like, what are the cause-effect relationships? How does that dynamic work mechanistically? But it produces inflation. The second, but very interrelated to this, is the large internal conflicts that we are having. Populism of the left and populism of the right, and values differences that is producing a conflict brought about also by the largest wealth gap differences, largest opportunity gap differences, and so on. That type of conflict I have never seen in my life, but that also happened in the 1930 to 45 period. And so I needed to go back and then study that over time. And then the third is the great power conflict. When 1945, when this world order began, as all world orders, there's a war, there's a dominant power. The dominant power sets the rules. And when the dominant power sets the rules, then you have a period of peace and prosperity. And so the United States in 1945 had 80% of the world's money. It had half of world GDP. It had a monopoly on the military power. And so we came into the American world order. That gap, that power gap, has shrunk to be approximately equal with the other side. And we're having a great power conflict. So you have to go back to that period of time. And I've seen that period of time happen repeatedly. When these three things happen repeatedly, it's a very dangerous set of circumstances. So we are in a position on the financial one to be in a position where you cannot raise living standards by raising money and credit. In other words, if you increase money, then the value of money is going to go down. And one man's debts are another man's assets. And so when they get negative returns by holding a debt asset, they're going to sell that debt asset, and that produces a problem, and that's over a period of time. And so the Romans, for example, put less gold into gold coins. And so you saw it in its way, and that certainly produces kind of the inflation, because you can't raise living standards by printing more money. So we have that going on. And so there's that dynamic of where is a storehold of wealth? The purpose of a currency is two purposes: a medium of exchange and a storehold of wealth. A storehold of wealth means you buy its debt and its assets, and you can save in it. And people believe that cash is a safe investment, but they're seeing that what happens is it's losing buying power, and it will lose buying power. So they start to realize it's not a safe investment. Inflation over the last year, about 8%. Interest rates were nothing. And so there was an 8% change in buying power. That kinds of changes and sort of reinforces the inflation cycle. We pay too much attention to one currency in relationship to another currency, and not enough attention to the fact that those aren't the choices. It's a choice for transactions, but it's not a choice for storehold of wealth. So